Hi, it's Martin from Martin's Engine Services, and it's welcome to the midweek What's Happening in the Workshop video. Well, what's happening in the workshop is not a lot. Well, there has been a lot of organising and trying to sort parts out going on this week, which has the usual fiasco with people who don't quite listen and all the rest of it. You order some parts, you order 3 parts from the same supplier, and they send you out 1 part and then sending the other 2 on a separate delivery the next day when they could send it all in 1 parcel. Okay, ours is not to reason. I was supposed to be doing a job for a friend of mine today, popping over to his house at Bury St Edmunds Way, doing a couple of air conditioning top-ups and a couple of little jobs for him, and was going to have a bit of lunch and mull the day over. But he used the famous guaranteed, very expensive, we'll have it there in 24 hours service without fail to get his parts for today. And of course, well, actually for yesterday, so they're ready for this morning. But of course, it's now taken 48 hours to get there. So, it's a pretty much usual story these days. So that was that one. Excuse me. So sitting out there is my Petra A1 engine. It's one I had the famous starting handle accident with. Not for that reason, but I've actually decided to sell this unit. And the guy's coming to pick it up tonight. I think it'll make a nice starter engine for somebody, or in addition to a collection. I had a lot of fun restoring it. It's been a sweet little engine, but I thought I'll get rid of this one and maybe one of the others, clear a bit of space, and I might get something different, find something else, or I'm not sure yet. But so this one's definitely gone. Found a few spare parts for it on the top there, so I think it'll be a great little unit for somebody. It won't be going with the handle because that fits several of my other engines, so he's aware of that. And I will include the infamous starting handle, which I don't want to go near anymore for obvious reasons. But so I'm not getting rid of it for that. It's just I thought, well, I've run it enough and it was fun restoring it and everything. So time to move on to something different. What I've actually got here on the bench, something different, you've probably never seen a creation quite like this, is my now patented, I think, clutch pressure plate tension or spring tension tester. This clutch is actually one of the ones that we removed from the infamous Transit. I've been having all the fun and games with transmission vibrations and problems that went on and on and on, or still going on. This clutch here was one of the first 2 that were fitted, and these are quality German components. They come in a yellow and white box, and both of these clutches done about 6,000 miles, and they are juddering hideously when you try and take away. Don't take away when you pull away. The flywheel was actually perfect on both occasions, and there's no inflow or wearing the gearbox, etc. So a few weeks ago, as you probably any followed this series know, we fitted a reground flywheel, another completely different brand of good quality clutch, and refitted the gearbox, which I reconditioned for the guy. Having finished that, we then immediately have transmission vibration or driveline vibration at the top of 3rd gear into 4th and 5th. So that was when we started down the rabbit hole of investigating prop shafts and gearboxes, blah blah blah. We then decided to change the gearbox, because we thought the severe juddering clutch may have had a damage of the bearings. So while I removed it to fit a good second-hand unit, we also I took the time to check the flywheel run out. And as I mentioned in previous videos, the flywheel was running out very badly. So we replaced the flywheel with a tested good second-hand one we had, refitted this clutch, not this clutch, but the one we had on there, and checked the run out, etc, etc, was all right. Fitted the gearbox, another gearbox this time, and we still have the transmission board, driveline vibration. We went down the rabbit hole then, and presuming it's a prop shaft related problem. However, if we'd have really stood back and thought about it, the only component now that had been changed, the only component that hadn't been changed on that now was that 3rd replacement clutch. So obviously it had a transmission and a flywheel, and the juddering problem or transmission problem, the driveline vibration only started after that clutch was in there. It's still in there now. So we've come to the conclusion the problem lies with a problem called clutch slip, where once you get the load on higher up, the clutch pressure plate is not strong enough to keep the clamping action on the centre plate and is effectively bouncing and causing the vibration. He actually said that the clutch, and I felt it myself, the clutch pedal is almost feather-light to the point where you hardly even know where it's biting. And we have great suspicions that the fault lies in the new clutch again. This, I'm not going to name names on any of these, but this was another good branded clutch. And subsequently, I presume, well, not subsequently, but I presume the components were made you know where. This brand of clutch here, supplied by one of the German companies, was allegedly supposed to be a good component, and we've subsequently found out that these, of course, are manufactured in the Far East. So, that sums that up. It looks quite possibly that on this one here, the lining surface is so hard, the lining material is so hard, that the writing on the plate, it's done about 5,000 miles, have not even worn the writing off because the plate simply hasn't even took the newness off. And I think that's what caused the judder. So what I come up with here is this implement here using an old release arm, and I made a little ball pin up and this beautiful bracket. I've got the centre plate in here. I bolted this down as it would be on the flywheel, and then I've attached a torque wrench to the end, so I can then set the torque wrench and keep adjusting it until the torque wrench just clicks as the clutch depresses or the pressure plate goes down. This gives me a fairly repeatable 102 foot-pounds of torque. So I now know that that's what it takes to open this pressure plate, release this pressure plate. Once we remove the clutch from the vehicle next week, we are going to bolt it onto here the same, with the centre plate in the same position, keep the same release bearing and nothing else changes, and I'm going to see just what torque that one breaks at. And I've got a funny feeling it's going to be an awful lot lower, and that will probably give us a clue as to what's happening. Logically, the only component left in the line is that clutch. Fortunately, we went down the rabbit hole of presuming it can't be the clutch because we've changed it. And of course, as we all know, replacement car parts these days are pretty much junk. Now, the clutch is actually ordered in, it's coming from Germany, but he's rung the company directly who actually make it. And they have checked for him and they have said definitively it is all made in Germany and is guaranteed to be 100% quality components. He's ordered it through a local supplier and it will be here next week. It's cost quite a lot of money to get this clutch, but it's basically the best you can buy and it is guaranteed to be quality. So I'm not going to name any names in this because that's not fair, and of course not all products are bad, but unfortunately it seems to be getting to be almost like a virus spreading through the motor trade. So that's what we should do. We should do an experiment using the clutch pressure plate tester version 2 and see what happens. Version 1 didn't quite work because the end of the release arm I used actually snapped off, so I had to beef it up a bit. So that's what I'm going to do with that. I was a bit bored and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll come up with some sort of test gadget. Can't think of any other way of doing it. I mean, I can put it in my hydraulic press, but you can't be accurate enough because that measures down to half a ton, and we need to be a little bit more precise. I angled the release arm basically as it would sit in the vehicle with a good pressure plate. So, and it's on a nice ball pivot here, so you get a lot of true reading. It seems to work very well, and it's very repeatable. Other than that, I should have a little tinker around and a little bit tidying up on my trusty old Ford Fusion. Little runabout car. It's a good little machine, this little 1.6. So it's 21 years old now. It's holding up very well. I've repaired the wheel arch a couple of times there and otherwise, but no, the rust on it, and it's been a great little car. I bought it about 5 years ago, or I think it was £995 I paid. It was a trade-in at little local car dealers, and it was a nice honest little car. Dent in the front wing there, and a little scuff on the little scuff on the bottom of the door down there, but nothing serious. But otherwise, Straight little car, drives well, goes well, air conditioning works well, very practical and very good on fuel. So I know these aren't exactly the most exciting machine on the planet, but they'll do what you want them to do reliably. Service parts are cheap and easy to get, no silly expensive tyres, so altogether a very practical little car. She's done about 115, 116,000 now, and I put about 15 on it. So it just is a brilliant little car for what it is. Well, that's basically what I've been up to. Been making use of the good weather, kept caught up with the gardening and stuff, and a bit of luck by the end of the week. I've actually done a couple of jobs and caught a couple of those up. Been fiddling around, and oh, here on the bench is a little bit of workshop art or wall art I come up with. Some parts from the old Duratec engine. I call this little guy Coggy. A couple of valves and a few cogs. Well, I suppose I shouldn't call him a little guy. I suppose to be politically correct, I should call it a non-gender specific human effigy or something, but I'm sure whatever you call it, you'll upset somebody. Still just joking, but I thought it was quite funky. Everybody liked it and commented on it, and thought it was quite inventive. I don't know what I was doing really. I was thinking I was having to sort out a few engine parts and scrap, and suddenly had the notion to create this little guy. So I think it's amusing. So that's basically what I'm up to. I've had a moan about delivery services. I've had a moan about poor quality components. I've come up with a truly amazing invention. Imagine somebody finding this in years to come and wondering what on earth it does, but hopefully at least prove something. I may even, if the customer's willing, which I know it won't hurt it, bolt the new clutch on there and try that. Because I mean, it won't do any harm to it. It's only sitting on wood and the bolts are in the usual places. So I might just try the new one when we get it next week and the one that comes off, so we can compare three. So we've got a 100% definitive answer if there's a radical difference between the clamping pressures. It'll be interesting to see. Anyhow, that's it for now. I guess it's time for another cup of tea. And thank you very much indeed for watching, and please like and subscribe. Oh, just quickly, on the subject of subscribers, I've had a really good raising the numbers last week. I think we gained about 10, 12 subscribers, something like that. So, which is really good news. I'm really pleased about that. So, please feel free. Anyhow, thanks again, and bye for now.